Hello everyone, this is Devasri. Welcome to you to the journey of literature. Today's my topic on the preface to the lyrical ballad part 2, in where I am going to discuss some important features of Wordsworth's the preface to the lyrical ballads and the function of poetry and Wordsworth's statement towards the nature. And the most focusable point is that what a poet actually needed to compose a successful poetry, or what's the steps towards to create a successful poetry for a poet. Friends, before this talk of lyrical ballad part 2, I already shared a video on the lyrical ballad part 1, which is based on the basic idea of lyrical ballad, especially the relationship between Wordsworth and Coleridge. Hope the video will be helpful for you. If you want to see it, the link is in the description box. At first, to discuss the main features of Wordsworth's the preface to the lyrical ballads, the highlighted point to be noticed: number 1, encompassing the poems contained in lyrical ballads, two objects were kept constantly in our mind. First, the subject matter comprised incidents and situations from common life. The second object is the language of ordinary social intercourse. And the number 2 point is, by the transforming power of poetic imagination, the ordinary objects of nature were invested with novelty and interesting through the elements, fashions, emotions, and motivations of human nature. Simple and rustic lives was preferred because it exhibits emotions with great simplicity. Number 3 is, the essential passions of the heart find a better soil in which they can attain their maturity. And the number 4 is, as far as the style is concerned, personifications of abstract ideas are discarded. Wordsworth retreats that his invention has been to imitate and, as far as possible, to adopt the language of man. And the point to be noticed is here that Wordsworth approves Aristotle's diction that poetry is the most philosophic of all writings, and the object of poetry is universal truth. The last point to be noticed here that Wordsworth spent some time talking about the nature and character of the poet. He described the poet as a man talking to men, but says he has certain special gifts and abilities also. Quote it: a greater knowledge of human nature and a more comprehensive soul. Friends, before I start about the statements of Wordsworth on the nature of poetry, very quickly I remind you that the definition of poetry that defines by Wordsworth in his preface to the lyrical ballads, that poetry is the spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. It takes its origin from emotions recollected in a tranquility. This definition of poetry suggests that to Wordsworth's poetry is of a feelings, mode and temperament that I discussed on the part 1. And on the nature of poetry, Wordsworth states that, number 1, listen to me carefully. Number 1 is, poetry is the spontaneous overflow of powerful passions. Internal feelings of the poet proceeds poetry. True poetry can't be written without proper mode and temperament. Poetry is never an intellectual process. And another point to be noticed here is that poetry is born not in the mind but in the heart, overflowing with feelings. The point tried to be hints here is that poets are gifted with a greater organic sensibility. They have greater ability to receive sense impressions. According to Wordsworth, good poetry is never an instant expression of powerful emotions. Before a successful composition of poetry, the experience of a poet has to pass at least 4 stages. Number 1, there is the observation and perception to some objects. Let me explain what the points is tried to hint here, that when we see objects or certain kind of incidents, that sets up powerful emotions in our mind. Exactly, the character or the events or any kind of object or incidents which sets up the powerful emotions in poet's mind and provoked him to write poetry. And the number 2 is, there is a recollection and contemplation of emotions in silence. Let me explain. In this test, memory plays a very important part. This filtering process is very slow. Time and solitude are vital. The poet's emotions is universalized. Means, even the poet has certain special gifts or abilities to create poetry, but this is the important stage to compose a successful poetry in where mind plays the important role on the way of think. Number third is the interrogation of memory by the poet set up or revives the emotions in the mind itself. Means the ability to create comes from nature and not from the primitive art. The last stage to compose a successful poetry is composition, or we can say the imaginative excitement. Means the poet must convey that overbalance of pleasure and his own states of enjoyment to others. Meter is justified for it, is pleasure superadded. In simply, we can say this is the final and last stage in where the poetry is completely composed by a poet. Friends, now it's time to focus the point on the function of poetry that I prescribed for you on the screen. Number 1. According to Wordsworth, the function of poetry is to delight even when the subject is painful in itself. It must be so treated that it would result in a overflow of pleasures. Number 2. The proper subject of poetry, says Wordsworth, are incidents, situations, and characters taken from the low and rustic life. Number 3. In their conditions of life, the elementary passions and emotions find a clear and free expression. Number 4 is, according to Wordsworth, the poet must deal with simple subjects, but the treatment should have a certain coloring of imagination. Number 5. Poetry for Wordsworth was a composition, a language spoken by rustic or the common people, free from artificial poetic diction of the 18th century. The last point on the function of poetry is pursuit of the truth of man is knowledge of himself and the world. Finally, poetry is a great force for good. Friends, this is all about my talk on the preface to the lyrical ballad part 2. If you have any objection on it, then please text it in the comment box. God bless you. Thank you.